Hey Internet, it's RJ. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning into this show today. Now today, before we turn over the calendar to March for the last quarter, or last month of the first quarter of this year, we must, as we always do, hit our monthly Q&A to wrap us up. You know the deal, ruler goes up and you drop your questions down below, and we have a lot to get through. We're talking about the most overrated card setups, how to get into bank promotion, bank bonus hunting, and exactly how jacked am I? Well, we will find out that and more. So, of course, chapters tools will be down below for you. We tend to go very long here, but we want to give everyone a thorough answer, so feel free to skip around as your heart desires. But without further ado, go ahead, press the subscribe button, and let's get to work. So we're starting lead off with Mr. Nathan Cashback with this lovely channel member logo next to his name. We appreciate you, sir. So he's wondering what I would consider the most underrated cards or setup. He feels that Chase Trifecta is heavily overrated with no good way to offset the fees, mediocre earning categories. I agree with you on Chase, not for the annual fee reason. I mean, as far as annual fee cards go, Sapphires are reasonable. Sapphire Preferred, the hotel credit is easy enough to use, making it I would say it's a $45 a year card. Sapphire Reserve, a little bit harder, $250. The travel credit's easy enough to use. We all know that. Sapphire Preferred for what you get, though, in a travel setup, I think is fine. The reason I think Chase is overrated is because Chase hides from useful categories like groceries and gas and stuff like that. They hide behind their rotating category cards, for that reason. But Chase gets rated higher because they're so, devil may care about most stuff. Which is helpful, but you can Chase cards on their own, but Chase cards in numbers with 4 Freedom cards, and you can do something. So I get that one. I do think it's overrated. I mean, they're all the systems are kind of overrated in a sense. I mean, Amex, to me, I think is the most overrated because of how expensive it is and because of how much you pay up front to be doled out your money back as an allowance. And I think it's just a lot of hoops to go through. Granted, you're not supposed to use the cards the way we're trying to anyway, so I could see that argument. But I feel like the effective annual fee argument is never really a win. Just tell me you like the card and you want to have those perks, and it's fine. The underrated, I think Wells Fargo could be underrated depending on how the transfer partners shake out. At the time of taping, we don't know the transfer partners. We don't know if they're going to be restricted to the autograph journey, or they're going to come to the regular autograph, or they're going to allow you to combine points. It looks like they might be, but you could get a powerful card like the autograph that I have and an active cash. I think you've got a strong setup for no annual fee, and if you bring in some kind of transfer partners, even better. Then you could punch up to the journey. I think is going to be slated at $95. I think that could be overrated or underrated. I do think Bank of America and Preferred Rewards, as a biased person, as a Platinum Honors person, is underrated. Probably more so for a cashback setup. Obviously you can get it on the travel, but their travel cards don't have, it'd be like no frill. If you want no frills travel, then sure, but for cashback, I do think Preferred Rewards, especially because how easy it is to get. I understand $100,000 under management sounds like a lot, but once you've been working long enough, most people will have $100,000 in a retirement account that you can simply roll over when you leave your job, move to a new one. You can roll it over to Merrill Lynch and be fine. So I do think that system is underrated. I think other banks should look at adopting it. Vincent, next up, what effects do you think canceling Amex cards have on landing in pop-up jail? I think it has some. Do we know how much, or will we know how much? Probably not. It's tough because with any issuer, I would say, you don't really want to cancel right before you apply for a new one. Even because I'm going to the U.S. Bank, I know it's going to be time to cancel my U.S. Bank leverage card soon because the annual fee is going to come due. And so I applied for another U.S. Bank business card. They haven't approved me yet at the time of taping, but I said, let me just apply first before canceling. I'm positive it's a data point they would look at, especially as someone as sensitive as American Express, so I would definitely try to time it. Their cards are too expensive, as we just said, to just keep open for the sake of keeping open. With their family rules now, you could look to just downgrade it, but not all of them have good downgrade paths, so that might be tougher. But I do think it plays a part, but at the same time, the cards are too expensive, and Amex, in my opinion, isn't the end-all be-all, so I wouldn't keep the card just to appease the Amex gods. But I do think trying to time it out, apply for a new one before you cancel, if the intro offers align, would probably be the way to go on that one. We'll just never know how much it impacts it. But as someone as petty as Amex, I would bet you large sums of money they look at it for sure. All right, Leprechaun guy here. Hear me, lad, the times are changing fast. The Bitcoin craze is here to last. Is it, though? With new ETFs, you can invest with ease and watch your profits soar like breeze. DW, I don't know what that is. Tickers mean Trump bet. Not going to tiptoe that combined. How could the future not be crypto? I mean, I just want to know how many sneakers you bought. How many Trump sneakers did you buy? That's what I want to know. But I mean, I'm not a crypto fan. No one's ever been able to explain to me why. So I understand. I'll give you Bitcoin, but like all of the other 58,000 coins, no one's ever been able to explain to me why they're worth anything except for what someone's willing to pay. You can make the same argument about regular USD, but the difference is that you and I both need a $50 bill to be worth the same thing, so the charade keeps on going. Crypto, I don't know. I think it has a place? Yes. Do I understand why it comes up in it? No, I don't. So I don't even know if it's a real question. I probably shouldn't even spend that much time on it. Inevitable. Do you use a VPN? What are the benefits you find in it? And which company do you use? I mean, the only thing I've done, so VPN is virtual private network. Kind of like masks your location, your IP address from places, from sites and stuff like that. Apple has one that they're testing called like Apple Relay. I think it's a built-in VPN. I turned that on. I haven't noticed any difference at all, honestly. I turned it on because it's an option. I've thought about looking into them, but again, it's just another thing that I have to pay for, and I don't really want to pay for it, honestly, so I haven't paid for one. It really hasn't, using the Apple one hasn't really been an issue. There was one bank that called me and said, well, hey, it looks like you applied from a VPN. I was like, I did, but I have that on, but it's never been an issue before. So I guess I don't know why I need one really. I mean, I guess if you offer me one for free, then sure, I can see the benefits of like masking, certain things where you're connecting to the internet from and this, that, and the other. I just don't really want to pay for another thing, honestly. So if anyone has any good VPN recommendations for our guy, definitely let him know down below. But I just use the Apple one, and I couldn't even tell you really what it does. Mr. Boo, another channel member. Good to hear from you, sir. 2 questions, we'll allow it, about the Spark Cash Plus and the Venture X business. Do these cards report to personal credit? So we did a video. We're going to do a video on the Spark Cash Plus on the second channel. I don't know when it's going to come out, probably pretty soon. But they have a really good offer, and we have links for both of these cards, I must say, over at profitfulcontent.com for you if you're interested. I am really sure the Venture X, I'm pretty sure, I can't say for sure, I'm pretty sure the Venture X business does not report to personal credit. At one point in time, the Spark Cash Plus did, and I was looking into making the video for that bonus for Run on the Bank, the second channel. I think I found data points that says as early as 2021, they stopped reporting that one to personal credit. It's just really tough to know for sure, but I'm like 85% sure both of those do not report to personal credit. As someone has both of those, definitely let us know down below, but I'm pretty sure. Now he says, can I apply for both in a couple of weeks? I doubt it. Capital One's super sensitive, and I'm pretty sure, at least on the personal side, I think they had a rule they were only going to approve you for like one card every 6 months. I feel like that was a thing. Their business rules are less defined. It might be possible. Like when the Venture X business first came out, you had to go through a business relationship manager, maybe if you did that route, but I don't think they'd give you them within weeks apart. They denied me for the Cash Plus, or the Spark Cash Plus, for having too many inquiries. So I don't think they give you back-to-back cards like that, especially 2 cards that are supposed to have the balance paid in full each month. I don't think they would. You're probably looking at a lengthy wait between the 2. But again, if anyone knows differently, feel free to let us know down below. History. What's your favorite planet? Mine's the sun. The sun isn't a planet, is it? I don't think the sun counts as a planet because we had the 9, then Pluto lost, but no one ever said it was 10. I was always like a big Neptune guy. It just looked cool, right? It's like far enough out there in like deep space. You're like, what's going on out there? The pictures you see all kind of look cool. Saturn was also interesting, but you can't really like land on Saturn, so it's just like fun to look at. But I was always a big Neptune guy. Before I was really into all black everything, matte black everything, I had a big blue face. Like when I was a kid, I colored everything blue, I've been told. Just one crayon, that's all I needed.
So I go Neptune. No particular reason why. Just it looked cool, and like you got to pick a planet. I'm not even confident enough in that answer to say. I think you can land on Neptune. I'm not sure. But Saturn and Jupiter I know are just like the gas planets, and they're out for sure. So I don't know. I'm going Neptune though. Curmudgeon, next up. What are your predictions for the possible Capital One Discover merger? We talked about this a little bit last Sunday, but I mean, I think this is a play to get the payment network, right? I mean, I think that's the biggest win for Capital One. The cards, I mean, yeah, they could make a rotating category card if they wanted to, but payment networks are huge. There's only really 4 main payment networks. There's still a lot going on around payment networks. Will the government step in and make it so that cards have to have 2 payment networks? I think the government will do something, because I think the government wants people to use credit cards because it makes us very easy to track all the expenses and everything, then use it to show up and subpoena the bank and ask for the records, which sometimes getting subpoenaed always isn't a bad thing. Sometimes they just prefer to get subpoenaed so they can follow the procedure, unless you're Bank of America and you just give it over anyways. So my predictions would be that Capital One moves a lot of their cards over to Discover Payment Network. Maybe not the Venture X and Venture X Business, but I could see them moving away from MasterCard and Visa as well. I mean, because why not? The other thing would be, like, do they impose their underwriting rules on Discover? They're supposed to keep them separate right now. I could also see them wanting to elevate one brand over the other, one to be the entry-level brand, one to be the higher-tier brand, but that ends up being a little bit tougher because no one looks at either brand as being elevated, right? So I think that it's a little tough, but I think that would be the way to go. Move one up, because I've always said it's hard for Capital One. You can't outgrow them as a customer, and like they could use this to help solve their problem. I don't think you'll see any new products right away. I think the big thing is the payment network, bringing some costs in-house, stuff like that. And then I would look for eventually them to try to separate the brands somehow by type of product. Do you send cards over to Discover, being able to make more Capital One cards, higher tier? I don't know, but I would think something like that would be the play. But I'm also just interested to see if it gets approved as a merger. We don't know. I think it could get approved because Capital One is the 9th or 10th largest bank. They're not in like the too big to fail range, so I do think it has a chance to get approved. I mean, if this was like Wells Fargo or Bank of America, there'd be no chance, but I think it has a chance to get approved. But that's what I think the major plays would be. It's really more so the payment network customer base a little bit than just, hey, I got their credit card portfolio. Caesar here. This should be good. You've been adding some big boy travel cards like the Amex Business Platinum, Business Gold. Are you switching to Team Travel now that you're becoming a YouTube celebrity? I did have someone comment, and like it was a sincere comment, and he was like, how do you expect to get any views when you don't talk about travel? I was like, well, this is why I have to go to work. So I understand. I did get the business platinum. Weirdly enough, after getting the business gold to Caesar's point for 150, 3 months later, in my account there was a business platinum offer for $200K, so I did take it. I'm running out of offers to get, man. And even at the $700 annual fee at 1 cent a point, it's still $1,200. So whatever. Plus, it allows me now to cash out those gold points at 1 cent a point to my business checking account. I know I can hear you screaming there's better use for MR points, but for me, all the stuff I want to do requires cash. So no, to answer your question, I'll probably just cash them out because cash helps me more than MR points or Sky Miles or Hilton points, and this allows me to do that. Now, I will say, since I have the Business Platinum for a year, I will probably try to grab the Business Green and the Blue Business Plus at some point too, just to grab all the Business MR cards and do the cash out. Because of the family rules in Amex land now, I couldn't get a Charles Schwab and get a promotional offer with it. And plus, it's different entities. It would be my name versus the actual profitable content business. So I don't know how they would be about letting me move points from one entity to another to cash out with Schwab. I mean, I'm sure it's possible, but my best cash out. This is basically I'm basing on my Amex cash out strategy. Hit it one time and then move on, and then maybe some of the personal Amex cash cards like the Blue Cash Magnate and the Blue Cash Preferred at some point as well. But definitely not switching. Just trying to find more creative ways to make cash, my friend. But thank you for your concern. Jake Vander here. How much time do you typically spend watching other credit card creators' content per week? It's a jerk thing, and I should be better about it, but not a whole lot. It's nothing against anyone. If I'm going to watch someone, it's probably an Ask Sebi video. I think he has probably the most interesting insights into topics, and, I don't necessarily love travel, as Caesar's pointed out, or to, much against what Caesar was pointing out, I should say, but the thing about it is people still ask me about travel, and I feel like I need to know about it. So when I watch him, I generally learn or help fill a gap that I have in my game. So when people ask me about it, I can at least know something about it. The rest of them, there's nothing wrong with anybody. Again, it sounds like a jerk move. It's really more so, I don't know, by the time we get done working at a bank and then writing up things for the website and then talking to people on Discord about this stuff and looking for the next topic and then filming it and editing it, I don't really have too much interest in watching it that much anymore, I guess. I'm not tired, or I still like to do it. I like the space, but again, I probably shouldn't say this, but a lot of us kind of have the same things to talk about, which is fine because you get different perspectives and stuff, but if I'm going to watch YouTube, which as I watch it like people watch TV, then I'm probably watching something like MKBHD for tech. I still like the funny fail videos, things like that, but I don't watch too many other people. But I should be better about it because people are generally supportive and they do watch other people. I'm just, I guess, too self-centered, but that is the honest answer. It's just I'm kind of, at the end of the day, I'm kind of good and just, watch different things. But I should be better about it. I really should. All right. Jonathan Nolsa here. How much cash could RJ stash if an RJ could stash cash? Nailed it in one take. How much you bench, bro? How much cash? At one point I had too much cash. It was a real question. I think that's how I got in doing real estate stuff, because I was way too much cash. I think at one point I had maybe 120,000, something like that. And then you go and put it in houses, which is probably the better move. But again, from a cash back standpoint, I think I got 45 grand last year from banks. How much I bench, on my own, I would do 245. So you have the 245s on each side, and put another 10. It's 245. I've gone as high as I think 270, 275. I know these numbers might not be right because everyone always gets the plate count wrong, but I know I couldn't make it past 280. I tried, but I was not going. And even at 275, some of those were a bit questionable of reps. I'm 5'10" on a good day, 173 pounds. I feel like that's good. It'd be nice to make the push to 300, but I also have to worry, do I want to buy another shirt? Probably not. So that's where I'm at right now. I also just go for the vanity, so, DJ, should I file a CFPB complaint if I completed all the requirements for a checking account sign-up bonus, but the bank decided to close my account days after opening it and direct deposit hit? So CFPB, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, what he's talking about is, he opened a checking account, he hit the requirements to pay the bonus, but the bank stepped in and closed the account. So, sure, always file it. It's your right to file it. I bet you money you'd lose, and here's what the bank's going to say. As part of all the terms and conditions, when the bank goes to pay, the account must be open and in good standing when the bank goes to pay out the bonus. And so they're going to say, well, your account wasn't open in good standing, so no bonus for you. And you're going to say, but you closed it after I completed the requirements to avoid paying me. And then they're going to go back, and the bank's going to say, well, we have the right to end a relationship at any time without notice and no reason given. So you're going to kind of end up in this stalemate of sorts. And there is a reason. The bank just doesn't tell you. If there wasn't a reason, then I would just say, well, you close my account because I'm black. So march on these guys, or give me my $200, right? But it doesn't work like that. There is a reason, and they will probably, if it got contentious, they probably just provide that reason to CFPB and okay, yeah, that's documented as your policy and procedure, too many checks, hits, whatever. So, file it, sure. The reason I say this is not to deter you, but when you file a complaint, you just kind of want to play both sides of it in your head, right? You want to figure out, what would the bank's rebuttal be to me? Well, that, in my opinion, would be the rebuttal. So prepare yourself for that and give it a shot, because why not? But I wouldn't expect to win, but that would be the line of argument that I would go down and be prepared for. We've done a full video on a CFPB overview, and I think I had a longer one on my fight with the CFPB or with GoToBank to get paid as well. So, you never know. I think it's worth doing. It doesn't cost you but 10 minutes of your time to file a complaint. You can do it at work, honestly. So yeah, give it a shot. Good luck. But that's the line of questioning I would expect to get back. Jimmy James here. If you had to carry just one premium travel card year after year, Platinum, Reserve, Venture X, which one and why? I mean, it's a tough one if I had to. I mean, I'd probably stick with the Business Platinum that I got now. It's so expensive, and I don't really care for it, but it is the easiest to use, I think. With the credits, even though we think the credits are going to change soon. I mean, the $120 wireless credit is helpful, sort of. You just have to remember to make a $10 payment every month on that card. But I still think that you still get the gold stats, which is enough for me to get, the breakfast and some fees waived maybe at hotels. Sky Club, between Sky Club Business Priority Pass and Centurion Lounge, I'm probably fine there if I wanted to go to an airport lounge. Sapphire Reserve, I just even with the travel credit at $250, I don't think there's enough there. Honestly, I just really don't think there's enough there for that $250, especially when you can get it from the Sapphire Preferred. It's basically the same thing, just without Priority Pass. The insurances are a little bit different, but I don't think it's that different. Adventure X, I don't know. I mean, they denied me for the other cards. They probably denied me for this one. Objectively, I like the Adventure X. Do I want it? No, probably not, because I think carrying the Platinum is a standalone card, which really still allows me to use all my other credit cards that I would use and just have this to make airport life better versus the other ones where you kind of got to use them a little bit, but there's not super helpful. So I guess, I've always seen the appeal and why people like the Platinum. Just the price just annoys me. But if I had to pick one, the luxury black card isn't on the table. I'm just kidding. I guess it'd be that one. You could give an honorable. I don't know if I do a specific hotel or airline card, because then you're kind of like locked in. Platinum gives you a little bit of more flexibility. So I guess it would be the Business Platinum reluctantly if I had to, which I have to for a year, so it's in my wallet now. Doc says, what are your thoughts on Capital One buying Discover? So I'll give you a shout out. I appreciate you writing in. I know we hit that question earlier, so we probably covered it already. But thank you, as always, sir, for writing in. I didn't think of anything else between now and then, I guess. But overall, thoughts on it? Yeah, we just covered that. But thank you. Brady Smith, another channel member. Appreciate it, sir. How many new dates have you gotten from that new shiny Amex Business Platinum card? That girl at the gym couldn't resist now. Second question is, do you think the CSR and CSP will get refreshed? You know what doesn't come up a lot? Like how many credit cards I have. I did have that opening one where I think it was way back when we were going to like Luke's Vegas thing. I was like, I'm going to go to this thing for credit cards. And I did not get the reception that you would have thought it got. I think I just need to wear my Platinum card, right? Like I need to like put a hole through each of them and wear them on a chain, so then like people see them, but I'm not talking about them, because I'm like, oh, what is that? Whoa, so glad you asked. Something like that. Or you just throw it down at the smoothie bar. There's no smoothie bar anymore at the gym, but there used to be, and you could just drop it. Maybe something like that. So nothing yet. Maybe I need to complete the trifecta of cards, and then that could work. Anyways, refresh. Didn't they just refresh the Sapphire Preferred? The problem is that where the cards, the order of the cards make it tough, right? Because on one hand, you have the Freedom Flex, which is a really good card, and the Freedom Unlimited, which is a really good card because there are no annual fees. And then multiplier-wise, you look at the Sapphire Preferred, and you're like, okay, the multipliers suck. But I can kind of forgive it because it's a card you get for the insurance in the transfer portal, right? Okay, fine. For $45 after the hotel credit, fine. I think that's worth it. But the Sapphire Preferred can only do so much because the Sapphire Reserve is right above it. And the multipliers would bump into one another. The multipliers are already even, I think, with the no annual fee cards. So the Sapphire Reserve is in the most need of a refresh. The obvious things that it needs are... on one hand, you hate to copy everyone else. You like, go give me United status or give me United Club access, give me Hyatt status. But clearly they don't want to do that. Or give me Marriott status. But clearly those people don't want to do that. So what do? It could be really easy, I think, for both of them. I think the Chase Pay Yourself Back needs to be a more thought out feature. Like that was a really good feature. And then it makes it so you can use the cards. They're way more flexible. You don't have to travel with them anymore. Because if it Pay Yourself Back, then my answer to Jimmy James' question changes. I'm like, oh, well, maybe it would be the Sapphire Reserve with Pay Yourself Back at 1.5 in rotating categories.
Also, I think you copy the City Premier. The City Premier is a better multiplier card. Like, just make the Sapphire Preferred the City Premier, and then maybe the Sapphire Reserve gets a bump up in a few categories, like 4X dining, for example. I get why they don't want to do that, because they want you to go to the travel portal to get your extra back. But I think you look at some of that, pay yourself back, and you got to stop hiding from all the categories people want, like groceries and gas stations. Those would be the big two. Multipliers need a buff. They'll probably just add more credits to it. I still think you give the Sapphire Lounge credits to the Sapphire Preferred. Maybe just like 1 to 2 passes a year will be helpful. But the Sapphire Reserve is in need. The Sapphire Preferred, for what it is, I think is fine. But the Reserve needs it because the Preferred can't move up until the Reserve itself moves up. And honestly, it'll be more expensive because they're at $550, and Amex just took like all their cards even more expensive. So I can't imagine it's not going to go up to $600 or $625 at least. But those are the things I think it's missing. Like, that pay yourself back would be a nice feature. Stop hiding from the multiplier so much. And if you could get something for Hyatt, given your partnership, and Hyatt needs some. Hyatt's been on like a losing streak. They lost MGM. They lost that small luxury hotels of the world thing a while back. So like, I think Hyatt kind of needs something that would like get them back in the game. It could be something like this. So maybe that's it. But so do I think they'll do it? Yeah, eventually, like maybe in the next 2 years, just because of money. But you know, that's my thought. Speaking of them, Luke's points and miles. No one cares about how much you bench, how much you squat. Is it true that if you don't squat and deadlift, then you're not even training? I train, sir. Thank you very much. I don't do either of those things. For what the whole putting the bar behind your neck has always just felt really uncomfortable to me. I didn't care for it. So if I do legs, it's gonna be like a leg press thing. But my legs come from I run. It's more like a jog. My normal day, I go 7 days a week, so I have nothing else to do but talk to myself. It's like I'll go and I run, or it's a jog like 6 miles to start on 7.5 treadmill, which is like an 8-minute mile, which is not very good. 48 minutes to do it. I know you're not supposed to run first, but when I was younger days, I ran cross country and track, so they always made us run first and then go do weights. So now I just do it backwards. So I'll do that 6 days a week. I'll run on Sunday. I just walk up a hill on an incline like the 12 at a 3.5 speed. So I'll run, and then I will go do weights every day. Has a different thing. Like Friday, I will do a leg circuit. And then once that's done, then I'll go walk for 2 miles up and in, like maybe 20, 30 minutes. So sometimes as much as 2 miles up an incline, 3.5 and 12 speed. There's always a set of abs in there every day because, you know, got to do it for the gram, as the kids say. But that's generally what I do. I do bench. I do like the chest, shoulders, back, legs, by that whole thing. I just don't do the squats or the deadlifting. I'm there for the vanity. Like, I'm there so I can wear the boys' medium t-shirt, man. Like, that's why I'm there. I'm not necessarily like trying to get super strong. I just like the vanity. I tell people I'm on TV. I need to at least look like I'm on TV. So, I don't know how many subscribers we just lost with that, but there we are. It's my gym routine, if anyone cares. All right, Adam. I learned to buy the gift card strategy from you. Well, thank you, sir, and love it. That's good. I was wondering why you don't seem to talk about the merchant offers on credit cards much. For example, I regularly get a 10% off Fred Meyer's. I don't know who that is. Offer on my Wells Fargo Aftercash card. The offer stacks at 2%. So I stop in, grab cards. Maybe make a video about that. We've done a few. It was a little while ago, though. So it's like he's talking about stackable plays, right? Like, to this point, you can find an offer on your credit card and then apply it to your credit card and then go in, make the purchase, plus you get your multiplier plus the discount, that whole thing. I think I've talked about it in the sense of, like, we've done shopping portals once. I think we had a sponsor one time, one of the few that I did. And then I've also talked about it from the standpoint of, like, when the category is like 5x back gas stations and like you go buy your gift cards. Like, I got like a Speedy Rewards for Speedway. You scan it, you get Speedway points, and then you get the Chase points. I don't know what Speedway points are worth, but after doing it for long enough, I ended up cashing them out for another gift card when you have it. So I mean,
I know the other guy here commented that it would be boring, but I do think, I mean, we could look to refresh that, just have one about stacking plays, because it is older, so I don't think it's a terrible idea. Not every video is for everyone. I'm glad it's working out for you. I'm glad the gift cards are working out for you. I do look for stacking plays on occasion. I tend to not pay too much attention to the individual offers, like the Amex offers. I'll skim them on occasion. Chase offers are no good, really. I mean, you can always find one or two over time, but historically, because most of my cards have been Chase, and the Chase offers aren't really that good, I haven't paid too much attention. Amex offers can be good, but then the problem I have is the Amex offer may be good, but it's always on a card that doesn't really help multiplier-wise, so I don't use it anyway. So that's kind of why I've skipped over them. But if it's working for you, by all means, keep doing it. I know people like John from Bank Account Bonus Central swears on stacking offers and going through Ibotta and Dosh and all those things. So I can put it on the list, for like maybe like after the tournament or something. So appreciate it. Glad the strategy is working. Anthony Venture, the guy, the famous YouTuber with a Tesla and the nice hair, he says, following our conversation about being Amex CEO for a day in light of recent events, Capital One and Discover, what would you do? So, I mean, it's a little bit different than what I said earlier. I said, what would happen? What would I do? So I would still stick to the play of the payment networks, right? I think now that I'm Capital One, I would first look at it, getting all the cards I want onto the payment network. Then I would, on the Discover payment network, then I would look at it and say, okay, how competitive do I want this payment network to be? Like, is it worth my time to go out and win other business and put other people on my payment network, win other cards? It could be. Like, I think that's a line of business, especially as we know, some stores are going to trying to get away from Visa and MasterCard. I don't think they're ever going to be able to do it. But I think you explore the payment network route the first way, because that's a ton of money. That's why they love it so much and don't want the fees to change. I think it's a whole untapped area for Discover, who's only ever issued like 4 or 5 cards. So that's really the first way I go. Then I think I go back to wanting to figure out how can I elevate Capital One or Discover, right? Most places have a regular brand and a premium brand, and I've said it earlier, but Capital One, you can outgrow them as a customer base. Well, the same thing is true for Discover. Like, that's a problem because I just inherited a thing that it's got one card and a banking product, right? Like checking, savings, credit cards, which is all most people need, but if you ever learn about anything else, like that's sort of problematic. So, do I now jump in the mix for an Apple card? Right? Because I've got a little bit more firepower, a little bit more size. Plus, I've got my own payment network now as well. So can I compete for some of these larger co-branded deals? Can I figure out a way to look at my underwriting criteria? I'm like, okay, we really got to tighten some of this up. And my customer service is atrocious because people will hear different things depending on who they talk to. And I think that's a big problem. No one knows how many Amex or how many Capital One cards you can have. No one seems to know how many, what the rules are, which is a problem. So we got to tighten those things up. But that's really what I would do. All that before I start making brand new products, because the products have existed. They know what they can and can't make. They're not going to invent a mythical card we haven't seen. But that's kind of the problem. Like, how do I turn one company into a feeder system into the other, and then make the other one a little bit more premium so people aren't outgrowing me, and make the payment processing network another line of business that is very profitable? That's what I would do if they called me. Phone is not rang yet, so maybe. Edward. Been seeing the Redstone Financial Credit Union 5% take off in popularity since your video. Thanks. I think that was a while ago. And I'm just now planning on getting it. I think they've gotten tighter on that, but I did notice the Redstone checking is a monthly fee. How do I get around it? So I think Redstone may have tightened up eligibility, but definitely still check it out. I'll put the card on screen. It was a decent credit union card. So the first thing with the credit union is you have to be a member to get their products, but I don't know the answer to this. I'm just putting it out there. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to always have a checking account. What you need is like a member shares account, and that makes you a member of the credit union. So it is possible you don't need a checking account to get this credit card. I don't know that for fact. Maybe I should have read this ahead of time, but that takes the fun out of it. So that's number one. Number two,
I think from what I remember, because we did a bonus post on that, you can waive the annual fee with either some debit card swipes or a direct deposit per month. There will be a way, I'll put it on screen and highlight, there will be a way to waive the fee, and that'll be the easiest way. If it's debit card swipes, it's just to automate it with like Amazon reloads or something. But again, I don't even know if you'll need a checking account. They might give it to you if you're just a member. Maybe. But I do think they tightened up their eligibility rules when they got hit the last time on the bank promotion. But give it a shot, but that's what I would do. Or just, if you like the checking account, you like the credit card that much, just make it a checking account that you use a little bit, and that should also be fine as well. Just, again, usually direct deposits or debit cards get the job done. But that's what I would take a look at there. All right. New again. 2 VPN-related questions other than the credit union account Langley for $50 and other bank issue using VPN. I use that Apple thing we talked about earlier. It's never been an issue for those who don't watch the other channel. Langley Credit Union did call me and was like, hey, we wanted to make sure this was actually you applying because you applied through a VPN, which has never happened to me before using that Apple private relay thing. I've talked to other people where it's come up because people have tried to use VPNs to apply for out-of-state things, but it's not really worth it because everyone's going to require your driver's license anyways because of know your customer, so they're going to find out. And it's not that you don't have to, if it doesn't match, then they'll just ask you for documentation like a utility bill or something like that. So it's not really worth it. So I have seen some people get bounce because they were applying from a VPN. I don't think it's a widespread issue, but I have seen it before. You could also just turn it off, I think, when you apply, then turn it back on. Would probably be the way to go. The software credit for US Bank Triple Cash, do VPNs count? For whatever reason, they will not publish a good list of what works and what doesn't work. It's never really been enough money for me to care, which I know sounds flippant because it's $100. I have the Triple Cash still. It's not enough money for me to care. Plus, the way it's structured is I think you have to pay all the pay for it for 11 months, and the 12th month they give you the credit or something. I think that's how it works. I don't know if VPNs count. Excuse me. I don't know if VPNs count. If I can find a list of stuff that works for it, I'll put it up on screen for you now. But they've always been very secretive about that. So I don't have a good answer. If someone knows and someone's using that credit, by all means, let me know. But for me personally, when I had the card and I looked around, it was just annoying to figure out for sure what worked, and then also having to pay for that one thing for 11 months, I think, to get the 12-month credit. I think that's how it works. I would probably look for something that it also depends on what it codes as, right? Because you could get away. I could see it working with like internet services perhaps, or maybe even outside chances it triggers a streaming category, maybe something like that potentially. Red Sox Nation, full name Ryan Johnson. Good thing everyone knows that. When are we going to abolish the federal government? I'm just waiting for you to lead the charge, buddy. And he even commented back on the Leprechaun. I'm convinced he's the same guy as the Leprechaun we talked about earlier. Again, same question, just how many sneakers did you buy? I just want to know how comfortable are they? Do you enjoy them? Can you jump higher in your Trump Force ones, Insurrection ones? I just want to know. Let me know. Please, let the people know. A few more here. I should refresh to see if anything came in late. A few more. All right, Pink, here we go. Have you ever lost a gift card you bought or otherwise not been able to spend it? 2 stories. So one time I was buying, I think it was to buy this camera setup here. I bought a ton of Amazon gift cards, and I loaded them all into my account. Amazon locked my account. They took my money, and they said I had to prove that I bought the gift cards. And luckily enough, I still had the receipts. It happened pretty quickly. I provided them receipts. But Amazon, you can call them. And it's like one of those companies where it gets really hard to talk to somebody. So I called them. They didn't know what to do, which is a lie. They wouldn't transfer me to the right department. So luckily, they got me an email address, upload the receipts here, and I uploaded enough of them that they reinstated the account, gave back the gift card balance. Moral of the story there is probably just don't upload multi-thousands of dollars at one time. The other times I've had issues where you were scratching off the back, to Amazon's credit, you can just peel off the sticker on the code. But I think it was a Best Buy card or something. I was scratching off the back of it, and part of the number came with it. And
just getting someone to like talk to you and deal with that was not great. I can't remember. Like Best Buy kept saying, go back to the store. It's like not the store's fault. Like the store can't do anything about it. But Best Buy, the reps wouldn't help me. Finally, I got lucky. And the part that came off was also like the last four of the digits on the receipt, and I was able to figure it out. But those are the two worst gift card things I've had happen. I mean, generally I buy gift cards and I use them immediately. I wouldn't like buy them and I used to just buy them and sit on them, but I don't like a lot of stuff around, so I tend to buy them and use them. It's just a bad way to store money. Plus, I do think nowadays there are people who sit there and just try to enter in random codes all day to see if they can trigger one, and if you bought it, it would have activated. So I would say just buy, if you're worried about losing them, one, just keep them in a place where you keep all your credit cards, like that giant wallet perhaps. Or number two, just buy them when you know you're going to need them so you don't have money tied up in gift cards. But those are my two gift card horror stories. Both worked out, but it did take quite a bit of doing. I mean, I've had the gift cards on occasion you buy, and they've already been used or someone stole the code. Now I'm just better at checking them and pulling them from the back, just checking to make sure it hasn't been opened or tampered with. Stuff like that. But yeah, I think you'd be fine, honestly. If you keep track of your regular cards, I think you keep track of a gift card. And a lot of cards just have them where you can just reload your balance instantly, which is helpful. Next up, Terrell Moss, what are the best credit union cards on the market? Would you recommend putting investment properties in LLC or opt for sole proprietorship? I mean, credit union cards, a lot of them are going to be like Max Cash Rewards cards from Elan Credit. Honestly, those are the ones you see the most. You have the Redstone card the gentleman mentioned earlier. Alliant is good if you're going to put the $10,000 in their bank to get like that 3% number, 2.5%, whatever it is. Affinity has a good card. It's basically like another version of the Amazon Prime card as well. Those are the ones that come to mind. People like Navy Federal and they like USA, not so much because the cards are amazing, but because they issue higher credit limits and they're usually easier to work with if you're, of that ilk, if you will. But most credit union, we don't talk about a ton of credit unions because most of them end up being Elan, which is fine. People love going around and get those max cash back. Those are basically like a U.S. Bank Cash Plus card. Those are the ones you see the most. There's nothing wrong with getting multiples of those if you want. As far as the real estate thing, I don't have any of them in LLCs. They're all just in my name. You probably need someone to help you out with that and set it up. Then I think it matters like when I don't know a ton about it. So if someone does know, they can drop it down below. It is possible. A lot of banks sometimes have different rules about how they're going to let you close just to protect themselves. So I'd probably just be something like research beforehand. And if you're planning on closing that way, you probably just got to talk to them up front. Of course, you can always do title and deed transfers and stuff like that later on. But sometimes banks can be picky about that. So if you're gonna do it, I think the thing which I guess you're trying to do is kind of like do your research up front. The benefit is that it creates a separation of assets. So if someone to slip and fall at your house in an LLC, well then it's just separate and they can't just come after you for like everything that you own because it's an individual thing. So long term, yes, that's probably what people should do, I think, or at least what I've heard, because again, separation of assets is good, but then you just got to make sure you're following all the rules, like a separate bank accounts and expenses and keeping it for that. But overall, it's probably the way to go. For right now, they're just in my name. It's just something I should probably look into, probably. I don't know. I haven't looked into it enough to comment further, which I don't really answer your question, but that's kind of where I'm at. Yes, it's something I need to look into more, I guess. Last one here, Sean. I followed this channel for a while. Well, thank you very much. But finally ready to take a plunge into bank bonuses. Is there a specific bank you'd go for first? For example, is there a bank bonus version of Chase 524? Looked on profitable content, couldn't find where to start. That's a good point. So again, run on the bank, profitable content. They have, they're just all about bank promotions. And so if you want to start, the thing I say to start with is Chime. Chime is a $100 offer for a direct deposit of $200. They pay you instantly. So one I start everyone with because it's the easiest to start with, because one, it gets you familiar with changing your direct deposit, gets you familiar with the payout, you get instant gratification, which is good, so you realize it's a real thing, which reinforces the hobby. And it's just overall, they're easy to deal with, easy to get into. They don't deny too many people. Now, to your question of 524, it's really more checks. Check systems is what you run into with banks. It's basically
it's your credit report for bank accounts, right? And over time, as you open accounts, that's risky. Banks, why would you want that many accounts? Why would you open and close that many accounts? So banks get concerned and they start denying you. So if credit unions and smaller banks are generally the ones who are more uptight. You can make a decent run before you start getting denied. But to your question, we know Chase is 524. We know Bank of America is 7 and 12. We don't know the exact checks number that a bank is looking for, right? We don't know how far back they're going. Citibank checks. It shows up on my checks report, but they must be looking for derogatory remarks like delinquencies or bounced checks because they don't tend to deny a lot of people. So I tend to just keep plowing through, and if I get denied, whatever, I go on to the next one. It doesn't really make that much difference to me. So if you wanted to start somewhere, I guess it would be credit unions and whatnot, but I just generally start out with the bonuses that you can hit. Start out easy, like Chime, and then maybe move to like Affinity or something like that on the old website. Easy ones, and once you get comfortable doing one or doing two, then you can branch out even further if you wanted to. But again, I don't personally worry about my checks report. I've opened bonuses for $5. I've opened one for $1. I don't care. Some people do care, and that's fine. I understand why they care. Just I don't. So it's a good question. It's just never one that I've worried about too much because we don't know bank to bank to bank. And all you'll see on the doctor, even what I write, is just, yes, it's check sensitive, yes or no, which means you might get in, but you might not. Sometimes we'll write highly sensitive. People are getting denied right and left, but overall, I just kind of say full send to get that $10,000. So start with Chime. It's over on Profitable Content. We have a matching video as well if you want. But I would start with that one and net you $100. Once you do that one, you'll be good. On all the videos and even on the bonus tab on Profitable Content, there's a bank account bonus tracking spreadsheet. It's free. It's just a spreadsheet, but download it. You can track it as well. And then again, I lot of 101 videos on the second channel as well. And of course, if you need something and want to walk through it more, you can let me know. And of course, if you really want to get into it, well, then you can consider joining the channel memberships as well. That we primarily consist of bonus hunter, bank promotion bonus hunters, but we have groups for both, and it's just one shared Discord for $5 a month. That join button down below will pop up my face, and I'll tell you more about it. But the gist of it is that, we're referring one another, and then when the bonuses fill up, like the referral links max out, I just take a member link and put it in there. I know I just switched Chime's link this morning because someone maxed out. It means that person made $1,000 in referrals, and I put the next person in. And again, it's February 23rd when I'm taping this, so we got a whole year to try to get more people paid. So that's the benefit of channel memberships. But try out Chime, see if you like it. Let me know how it goes or if you need anything, and then we can put a plan together to get you more into it. But Chime is definitely the one to start out with. So anyways, guys, that is everyone's question asked and answered, hopefully well. But of course, if you need more information or want to tell me why I'm wrong or why I just can't bench enough, well, then let me know all that down below. But of course, if you liked it, drop me a thumbs up down below. If you found it particularly interesting, consider subscribing to the channel. So we're posting content just like this every single week, and of course, every single Sunday on how to make the bank's money become your money. That's the outro for the other channel. I've now confused things. We talk about the news on Sunday over here. All the news you can use in the week that wasn't credit and finance. On Run on the Bank, that's how to make the bank's money your money. But we also have ProfitableContent.com, the channel's blog that we've mentioned a few times, linked down below for you with the latest news stories, bank promotions, and credit card offers. Everything you need to know to take what you learned here and action on it over there. Yep, I'm going to leave all this whole mess up in. We should go now. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you very soon in the next one.